So we went and saw Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. That is the name of the movie. It's an independent flick. And so it was good, first of all. And it's about, I'm not giving anything away. A young woman, she escapes from a cult, an abusive cult. I mean, they're kind of all abusive. But she escapes from an abusive cult and then deals with the aftermath of that. There are a couple of aspects I want to highlight about this. The first is that she escaped, first of all. So she recognized to enough of a degree that there was something wrong with the cult that she had to escape. But simultaneously, after escaping, there were a couple of, real stark instances in the movie where she, refers to their teachings and kind of defends either their way of life or their philosophy. And so there's this interesting conflict between knowing the cult is wrong, but still really hanging on to those ideas and defending them. And so that sparked a conversation between a friend of mine and I. He was there at the movie, and he sent me an email afterwards saying, I think this might have had something to do with Stockholm Syndrome. That might have been what the movie was kind of touching on. And Stockholm Syndrome is classically where a person is taken captive, and then through a weird psychological phenomenon, they come to defend their captors and kind of align themselves with the captors. So that's really interesting. And my first thought was like, oh yeah, that is kind of what this is. And then I realized that there's a nuanced difference, which is that in the case of the cult, no one was taken captive. Everyone voluntarily joined the group and then had their mind kind of twisted and poisoned in that circumstance. So I responded to this friend, and I wrote it better than I could say it now. So I'm just going to read you what I wrote. And I said that kind of an odd comparison popped to mind, that the situation of the girl is almost like, for lack of a better term for it, almost like brand loyalty. So I say, people make decisions in their lives to support certain things, i.e. Democrats, Apple computers, Chicago Bears, etc., and they allow those affiliations to define who they are as a person. Therefore, if you denounce a political party or a computer maker, you're likely to get sharp rebuttals from supporters of those institutions, because you're not just attacking something someone likes, you're attacking what the people see as part of themselves. And then in reference to the girl in the cult, because she sees the aspect of the cult as aspects of herself for having chosen to join them. And people always defend themselves. And so basically, people, I believe not only you are what you eat, I believe that is true. I also believe that you are what you think. You are what you believe. That effectively makes up who you are as a person. And so, I think that people kind of strive to get a better grasp of their identity by affiliating themselves with outside entities, outside of your own mind, who they agree with in some sense. So if it's a political party, that's pretty clear. If you're vaguely progressively minded, and the Democrats are vaguely progressively minded, then you will gravitate towards them, and a lot of people will affiliate themselves with the Democrats. And, we can get into all sorts of psychological thoughts about why people choose the computer manufacturer they do. You get the idea. So I think that this is not the best way to go about it, because let's say for a second you don't do that. You have your own thoughts and opinions and beliefs. They make up who you are as a person. And then you find these outside entities who share a certain degree of your thoughts and beliefs, and you recognize it as just that. It's like, oh, well, they agree with some of the things I like, and I appreciate them for that, but I don't see, I don't affiliate myself with them in any way. I don't need to put like an Apple sticker on my car or anything, even if I like Apple, if that's the case. If you don't adopt it as part of your personality, then you will never be asked to defend anything other than your own ideas. And your own ideas are malleable. I have a patented two-step process to always being right, which comes into play at this moment, which is step one, whenever possible, be right. And step two, if you ever find yourself not being right, simply change your mind. And so if you're asked to defend an opinion of yours that turns out to be wrong, well, then it's really easy to fix that. You just change your mind, and then you don't have anything to defend anymore. Whereas if you affiliate yourself, and I think the majority of the time this happens subconsciously, and if you affiliate yourself with an outside entity because you think that they, share your beliefs, when that outside entity does something indefensible, you will have the instinct to defend them. And here's why. And I'm making this up as I go along for the most part, but I've thought about it a little bit. I think this is true. So when an outside entity who you affiliate yourself with does something good, that makes you feel good because you think, oh yeah, that person who I support, I love that I chose to support those people or that group or that entity because it reinforces the idea that my choosing to affiliate myself with them and support them was correct, and I like being correct. And so if they do the opposite and they do something bad, well, that makes you feel bad because you don't want for the things that you support to do bad things. And so instead of just feeling bad, because people don't like to feel bad, so you have to figure out a way to feel less bad. So you think, oh, well, it probably wasn't that bad. Whatever they did, I'm sure it wasn't as bad as they're saying. I'm sure they had a good reason for it. And then you end up defending something outside of yourself, which doesn't, you don't actually have a connection to them. If it's a computer company or something, if you're talking about your spouse or whatever, maybe that's a different situation. But you end up defending needlessly an outside entity who may not in that circumstance deserve to be defended. So what I suggest is not putting yourself in the position of pinning your identity to anything outside your own head, and you'll completely avoid ever having the instinct to defend something that doesn't deserve it, like a cult or a political party.